Hey, hey, hey. It's the ape again. It's that fucking ape. Yes. Coming at you live once more. Uh, Shitty phone stream from a darkened room. Weather's bad, so I might be stuck here for a couple days. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to travel. I gotta get this vehicle moved. Give the stream a few seconds to warm up. Do, 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 do. Don't forget to donate if you can. Be great. Donations would be helpful. Need donations. Oh, I think another little chunk broke off of the mouthpiece there. It's going to be deteriorating. Ricky little stool. All right. Her name is Alisha. That hits the spot. All right. So this was kind of loosely scripted bullet points or whatever. I didn't want to like completely fall off the rails. My trains of thought here. I've noticed I've scheduled a few upcoming streams to address various things that have been coming up and topics I wanted to talk about, and all coalescing and all that stuff. But this is just kind of a funny story, sort of, I don't know, little life lesson, depending on how you look at it, sticking with me. So I met this person. I met this person recently, right? In terms of we're professionally, we work together in a way, and so this person, this lady, so she's a police officer, and so the first time we met, I heard another officer address her by first name, which I heard as Lisa. And then so in passing, I just said, hey, thanks, Lisa, or something like that at the end of it. And it registered that there was something awkward going on there. And she handed me her business card, and it took me a while to put the pieces together. I was like, oh, it was Alisha. And so I, dealt with that person a couple of times after that. And then subtly got the hint. Like somehow I remembered that, even if I am on a first name basis with this person, which I wasn't, I just gleaned the name in passing. But the appropriate thing to do in a professional capacity is to call this person officer, and maybe last name, something like that. And, that's usually what we do. So we're, kind of a sign of respect, I guess. And most people, some cops will get like really, really bitchy about it, but like they don't want to be called sir or ma'am either, although that might be generally more appropriate. But even if you know their first name, if they're on duty, you're usually supposed to call them Officer so and so rather than use the first name thing. So, yeah, but her name is Alicia, and I don't know if it's more awkward that I called her by first name or the wrong first name in this context. She's like, hey, dude. Uh, good thing I didn't try to ask her out on a date, huh? Ah, okay. Addressing Sunday. So Sunday, I fucked up. I fucked up a number of things. Pretty bad this Sunday. And it's gonna make my life. So, the shittiest part about Sunday is that I let my kid down. Obviously I let myself down, but letting my kid down is something that I always end up beating myself up for, and it's like, no, just stop doing it, right? But I totally set myself up for this. I see what happened. I tried to go yes man on this one. I can do this. And then not only did I fail epically, right? I could have probably made the situation happen much differently, right? But kind of this hard-headed, is this what's happening today? And so I set myself up for an unreasonable period of time for sleep, an unreasonable period of time for transport, and I put myself in a financial conundrum, which I'm still going to be stuck with. So the next time now I go to visit my kid, I'm going to have to pay the fee for the visit I missed as well as the next one, right? So it's like it compounds on you for sure. And anytime the court system's involved, it compounds worse. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Is just everything is getting increasingly more expensive the harder I, so trying to find some balance with that's fucking crazy. And I feel like the other person is completely unreasonable. It's like, and they're, it sucks the way it's balanced in the court system out here. But anyway, I don't like to go on bitching about that. But just to say that, it is a shitty start to my week for one thing, as far as that happening. But it's also something that's going to affect me like long term over the coming weeks. And so that's something I have to deal with. And it's something that affects my kid negatively, and that sucks. All I can do is move on and try to fucking do better next time, man. Nothing more to be said about that at this point. Shit is falling out of the sky or what? All right. So I've been making some unhinged references, some weird stuff going on, right? With like different people in these circles, and trying to kind of put this all back together here. Because I know what I'm about, and I know, for the most part, I don't, what we've conversed about here, and the people in the circles that hang around these parts of the internet, this channel specifically, as I continually state, I like to think that I know and interact with most of my subscribers, or have interacted with on some level. Huh. And so I've recently come into, all right, so there's this guy, William Freeman. I consider him a friend of the channel, a friend of the chat. See him around frequently, and even lately, still been dropping comments, even though he's not in the lives as much, And I like to think I've gotten to know this individual, you know, fairly well. But lately, I've come to this point of finding he's taken a different tact with certain people and what he's trying to do. And I was trying to figure that out and why there was all this hullabaloo. And then I kind of remembered, okay, so this didn't really start with Will or Kat or Gurr, right? I think this traces back to this thing that happened with Pine Creek and Stephanie, as far as I can tell. And I remember being there for some of that, and then Oz get involved, Nitty. So this thing's been kind of going on for a while. So I remember a while ago I was trying to host a thing like Secular Anti-Racist Alliance or something like that. And I seemed to subtly get the hint that was, there were people that were like, oh, you shouldn't be anti-racist. And then there are people that are like, well, if you're white, you can't not be racist. And then so, I at some point decided that, oh, okay, well, I guess if I want to be a safe place, then there's certain things that I shouldn't talk about, or, I don't, I should just, I just need to listen. And, if you're a person of color, specifically, okay, if you are a non-black man talking about any type of issues of racism, then you're probably part of the problem, right? Even if you're trying to speak out against racism, somehow you're still kind of going to be part of the problem. I don't know. I never figured out how that worked out. And then I realized that, like, I don't think most people think that way. I think there was just like a small school of people that were kind of like, meh, and then, you know, and it's like, well, yes, okay. Ultimately, if you're going to talk about issues of, like, white nationalism and racism in America, you're going to want to hear more voices from people of color, because you'll have a lot of these right wingers and white dudes, for the most part, who are going to tell you that this just doesn't happen anymore, and there's no such thing as systemic and blah blah blah. And there's like, no, okay, yes, these people, they don't understand what they're talking about. For the rest of us, right? For the rest of the class that does realize that these things are an issue, right? So it was like, so we're not supposed to talk because these other guys talk, or we're not supposed to explain it to these other guys, because that's really the issue, right? It's like, if they're not going to listen to a person of color, then who are they probably going to listen to? If they're fucking covertly racist, they're probably going to be more likely to listen to another white dude. I don't know, but what what am I going to do? I'm just one guy, right? So I was like, well, fuck it. If I can't, speak out against racism, and hey, like, I have this sense of humor, right? I enjoy racial humor to an extent. Like, I want it to be funny. I don't want it to be a fucking, obviously there's a fucking line to be had there, but there's still funny fucking racist stereotypes that, even the people, the groups that are being generalized, will tend to laugh at those things most of the time, unless, whatever. So yeah, I don't think, you know, so coming down to, like, I was watching a couple of streams earlier. I was watching over at Midnight Stream for a little bit, and I don't know how long, but it appeared that Midnight was being targeted by Dragnaut. And I don't know if this has been ongoing or what. I haven't, Midnight, also known as Athena, being targeted by Dragnaut in chat. And so I don't know if Dragnaut's covered that. I haven't gotten any updates or anything like that. I mean, I'm guessing if he's going out of his way to troll the chat, he might be covering it. So, I mean, with that being said, I don't know. I don't I tend to disagree with Midnight a bit, but still um, enjoy their inputs and stuff. And it's just like, okay, so, and what's the thing? See, they're being trolled for, and so after that, I ended up listening to Doug for a little bit over at Pine Creek Politics, and I remember Jeff was mentioning that when we were talking, and and I dropped in there at just this particular moment in time when Doug. The last thing I remember him saying before I left that stream was, "If if I if I can manipulate you, then I cannot respect you." Right? Or in other words, and something along those lines. I can't be friends with somebody who I can easily manipulate. Where he wants to try to break people of that, and he feels it's like a psychological manipulation. So, and in other words, any of these like, you know, pulling a racial stereotype in the context of having this conversation with this person, and then I'm going to pull out this raccoon avatar, whether or not that was you know that obviously that's Ben Williams' thing. It didn't really have anything to do with that. It had to do with the fact that he what transposed it with an image of Veckel, right? And that triggered this guy Pocket Locker, and then all the dominoes fell, and it was like, okay, so is this just a subtle form of psychological manipulation? The conversation wasn't even geared for that, and suddenly one person does one thing in an open room, and it becomes interpreted by the crowd as some type of signal, whether or not it was intentional, or what was the intention of that. How did the whole conversation just get manipulated? And how did all these people fall into that trap, right? And was that intentional? I don't know. I don't know. I get a bit hung up on it, but I think I've decided that, I can be a little bit looser with my words and what I talk about, and I mean, not everybody's going to like everything that comes out of your mouth, and sometimes people are going to get offended, but being a little more careful about how I'm doing that or what I'm doing, so we all understand that you know I'm a Sicilian mutt, but generally speaking, you know I'm whitey to anybody out there, so it's like fuck yeah, okay, you know, queer white person on the internet, trying to touch sensitive issues and have those conversations with people, and that's the whole point of the fucking channel. I'm not going to shy away from that. That would be psychological manipulation, right? That would be allowing somebody to me to concern myself with how somebody, right? But at the same time, we're not going to like reach out to intentionally hurt people's feels. Like that's not the point of it, right? But if it's going to be a tough conversation, it's going to be a tough conversation, and we're still going to have it. So, yeah, I don't know. But I also think that's a shitty kind of measure of how to gauge when you can respect people. If essentially you're saying if somebody is too gullible, right, then you can't have respect for them. And I do think that's kind of ultimately a shitty way to philosophize life. I mean, and maybe in a sense, what Doug's saying is trying to help people so that they're not being gullible, and maybe that's something that somebody like Dragnot strives to do. But we'll still question the ethics and the means they use to accomplish that, and that's part of, I guess, what it means to, especially if you claim that you are the master manipulator. So, I don't know that that's what was being claimed here, but um, this always goes both ways. Make sure you know who your friends are. And talk to your therapist, like I need to do. I need to talk to my therapist badly. Still working on time management, money management, and everything else about life that seems to matter. I think I'm going to sign off at this juncture. We've said everything we strove to say on this bullet point list. And be well, stay trusty, and until next time, see you later.